Now, next up, you're in for a treat. We have with us here live from Los Angeles, which all of us should know is quite a few hours away. Cristian, welcome to the studio. You've stayed up. It's the middle of the night where you are to be sharing some of your work and some of your thinking with us, and we are tremendously grateful for that. We're so happy that you could take the time because, as I'll elaborate in a second, Cristian has a pretty packed and busy job. Cristian is the CTO of Supersphere VR, and whenever we've been talking before we met up here today, Cristian says big things like, "Oh, I'm busy, it's Super Bowl and Foo Fighters are happening and we have this immense show." Now, Supersphere VR is the company that when Michelle Obama or Paul McCartney or Billie Eilish, when they want help with VR, they will call this team. So Supersphere VR are some of the best that you can find. And Cristian here, based in LA, he is an award-winning Emmy-nominated technical director who is on a mission to spearhead adaptive technology innovations to create entire new levels of digital interaction. And he's doing so by building his own career in what he calls the frameless entertainment industry. And this has heavily been boosted by him working with amazing and big profiles like Billie Eilish and Kid Cudi and Young Tuck, and also big companies like Facebook and Verizon and Sony. So, Cristian, what we're really excited to get to know is more about these new experiences in virtual reality. What are they? How do you craft them, and where the future heading it for big platforms and shows and events that you're pulling off? Can you help us all get a better grasp of that and invite us into some of your thoughts and thinking on this arena?
Of course. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. You guys can hear me okay? It's everything okay technically?
Yes.
Alrighty. I'm not gonna lie, it's been pretty challenging. It's close to 3 a.m. over here, and everything is a little bit blurry at this point. Thank you very much for having me here. That was an excellent introduction. I'm gonna start by basically just sharing my screen. I prepare a little presentation that I will do a very quick run through, explaining a little bit more about who I am, what is Supersphere, what do we do for a living, and why do we get to do the kind of jobs that we do. So just allow me 1 second, and let me make sure that I'm making this happening properly. Alrighty. So I started my career in the virtual reality entertainment in around 2014, 2015. After studying electronics, I went back to school and I decided that I was very interested in cinema. So I invested 3 or almost 4 years of my career learning about how to become the best director of photography that I could. When I was in the middle of all of this, about 22 years old myself, I flew to San Francisco once and I met this incredible, amazing genius scientist that was working on a panoramic photo stitching software. From him, I learned that there are different ways to look at the world. There are all the pictures that I was taking and all the cameras that I was using with all the lens combinations were now part of the past. He taught me how to distort geometry, how to make things look different. And with his help, I learned that this was possible to do on video. This is about a year before the Oculus DK1 came into the market. So by the time that the first virtual reality headset was out there, I had already been working for about a year in creating 360-degree video experiences. I explore all the genres. I explore terror, I explore documentary, I explored like commercials, and I tried a lot of different new things. But the second I put on the VR headset, literally everything changed. And I decided that that was what I wanted to do for a living. I've worked a lot of jobs. I was the director of innovation for a small shop in Spain, working for a bank called BBVA, doing 3D printing and crypto wallets and all sorts of disruptive innovation. But nothing has been as big as virtual reality for me in my life. I left my job. I got one gig, one opportunity to make myself sign and to deliver a great product. And with an incredible brand in Spain called Licor 43, which is this alcoholic beverage that's delicious. I shot my first commercial in virtual reality. That was a big production. We spent over $1 million on making it happen with more than 38 people, talent, choreography, proper lighting, crane movement, jeeps, like very, very advanced. And this is before even YouTube could play 360 videos. But that kick-started a whole other revolution for me, because now all these big brands wanted to do 360 experiences. And over the course of maybe 3 or 4 years, I saw everything you can shoot. They flew me to Fukushima in Japan to shoot the nuclear reactor catastrophe that happened over there with Greenpeace. I've shot for the Football Club Barcelona football matches in virtual reality just to experiment how will this look? Is this the future of sports, or is it too early? Is it a format will actually work or not really? I've shot Tomorrowland Music Festival in Brazil for Budweiser and Vice. Huge brands, huge companies that were very interested on learning more about this new medium, and if the lesson that they were learning was positive, they were all ready to invest good money into what they considered what it could be a new medium. By the time that I was building all these camera systems, all these crazy custom-made capture 360 cameras on helicopters and cranes and cars and all sorts of challenging situations, stabilization and drones and very, very complicated virtual effects workflow to make this happen, Supersphere showed up. For about a year, they had been creating 360 experiences that were very compelling. They were using cinema cameras, the most high-end productions that you can do for the biggest brands, even way bigger than what I was working on with my own team in Spain. And I decided that, hey, this is happening in a global basis. It's not only in Europe. It's not only in Asia, like I thought. Like people in the US are actually looking into this, and apparently big name directors, Michael Bay, were very interested in this technology. So they flew me over and we started developing other ideas and other workflows. And somehow, some way, they decided that their dream was to focus on broadcast, what they call bring fans closer to the things they love. And over the course of the last 4 years, it's between 3 and 4, COVID makes time fly a little bit faster. We've done over 200 live shows in virtual reality. All these shows have been going to different endpoints, but most likely Oculus venues, Facebook, Meta venues has been the main platform where all our shows have gone. If you own a Quest headset and you visit this platform, you will see most of our job in there. We've worked with Billie Eilish and Steve Aoki, Offset, Wiz Khalifa, Chainsmokers, Young Thug, Post Malone, Major Lazer. All of these shows, what the user experiences is a live show. You put on the headset, you enter the room in Oculus venues, you meet your friends in there because Meta has the ability to know what your interests are, what are the things you like, and they put you together with people that you are most likely going to get along with. And if there isn't enough people in the room, they also invite your friends over. So it feels a little bit more private. The size of the rooms is between 25 and 50. So you never feel like you're alone in these environments. And when you join, there's usually a 10-minute countdown timer while we are setting up on our side. And when the timer goes down, the party starts. During this time, you're making friends, you're talking to people, you're socializing basically in virtual reality, wearing your headset and your controllers with your little avatar with no legs is floating around. You can fist bump and high five, and if you raise your hands, confetti flies from the sky. And at one point, you realize, hey, there's like the show is happening, and I'm not even paying attention because I'm just having a great time talking to all these people. We like to say that this is more about the social experience than the show itself. But the shows are amazing because the artists that we're working with are very high end, and they're very high end for a reason. Their creativity and their stage performance and the way they do what they do, they're just the best in the world. So it's been amazing to start the journey with all of them and to learn from all of these experiences. That's the motto when I'm staring on the screen right now. To bring the fans closer to the things they love is the end goal of Supersphere. We've made that our mission, and with that, we're exploring this new medium as deep as you can explore. This is a very funny meme joke that I saw earlier this month about like, do you remember how concerts used to be? Because like COVID has erased the memory of how you felt walking into a venue. And if you look closely at the picture, that is actually a rug under a coffee table. It's not even a concert. We just we crave it so much that we want to see it, even if it's not there. So in order to explain how Supersphere is making this happen, it is important for me to go over what are we doing now and what is coming for us a little bit in the short term and long term. So right now, in real life, when there is a concert, we will go to a venue and we will set up physical cameras with fisheye lenses and Ethernet transport cables for power and data, and we do a full flat out installation in the venue. Satellite track, cameras, control panel. There is a director that is cutting through those cameras, and we broadcast. It's like what you guys are doing right now for this conference. But we broadcast to virtual reality. So our endpoint is not a stream on Facebook or a stream on Instagram. It goes to Horizon Venues, which is the main platform that we use. When it goes to Horizon Venues, the users are waiting for it, and they're waiting for it on this little balcony with a half dome sphere floating in front of them, which is the content that we broadcast. However, a couple of years ago, like we all knew, a global pandemic hit and everything was canceled. For the first few months, we hoped that it wasn't going to cancel that bad, but it was very bad. Absolutely every single artist on earth canceled their tours, they canceled their album releases, and everything went dark for a minute. So there were no more real live shows, and our dream of bringing fans closer to the things they love was basically ended in a couple of weeks. That didn't really turn us down, and we came up with this idea called Arc Runner. Arc Runner is a Unity and Unreal based virtual concert builder. It's a tool for artists that allows them to create a show experience, a live show, and broadcast it to multiple different endpoints. So it's not only for Horizon venues, but it can also go to all the normal endpoints, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, tweets, because realistically, not everybody has a virtual reality headset, but we wanted to provide with a tool for artists to be able to reach their audience wherever they are. And although the immersive experience in virtual reality is very interesting, I will also consider 70,000 people watching a Twitch stream and interchanging opinions and emotions and sentiments and making friends and flirting and adding each other so they can go see another concert later and developing a community and relationships. It is also immersive in some way. You're not looking at your phone anymore. You're not paying attention to anything else. You're looking at your computer screen, enjoying a very unique human moment, and that has some value for us too. So Arc Runner allows you to go to all these multiple different endpoints. What I'm sharing here is just the initial screen of how things look. We're expecting to be done with this piece of software in about 6 to 8 months. We'll be able to release this to the public so everyone can use it. As for right now, we're using it mostly as a production tool for ourselves, for the shows that we usually do. I don't have a live demo here for this call, but basically you grab that speaker that's there in the bottom left corner, you click it, you drag it on top of your stage, and now you have a speaker. And if you want that speaker to move with the music and to pulse a little bit, it's very easy. You just click on the audio reactive tools and click on. And if you want it to move with the bass, then you select the bass frequency. If you want it to move with the voice, then you select your voice track. We also have a bunch of different multiple virtual cameras, which are the green dots that you can see on the screen. Those virtual cameras you can cut. It's like having your own little production studio in your house. As long as you have a green screen that's doing the key out in real time using our software too, you can have multiple different virtual cameras and cut between them, or let the AI director that we built cut for you based on the BPMs of the song or how dynamic you want it to be. These cameras are designed so they can also broadcast in immersive formats. They can broadcast in 360 mono, stereo. They can broadcast in 180, also mono and stereo, or it can be just a normal 2D, or as we call it, rectilinear output. I'm going to run through some of the stages that we've built. These aren't really representative of everything that this software can do. We have a small team of 5 developers that have been working on this for a few months now, but it will just look so much better in the upcoming months. What you can see here is the states that we built for Young Thug, and all those screens that you see on the SL on stage header screen section, those little cubes in the back, all those are actually controlled by a remote person using a normal production software like Resolume Arena or Nuts. Using everything that COVID has gave us, all the remote tools that we have out there, we can put pretty good very, very complicated and developed experiences out there with everybody being remote. These are just some of the creative examples of what is it possible to achieve with ArcRunner. We're not going for this hyper-realistic look of things, at least for right now. We will wait a little bit more to implement hyper-real avatar humans and that kind of stuff. Now, the future of this tool is to not only be able to go to all the rectilinear outputs and horizon venues, but we want to include all the other metaverse platforms that are out there, like Rec Room, Outspace, VR Chat, or even Roblox. All these platforms have been growing for quite a good amount of time, and they are now very, very well developed to take our input. We're working with them. It's a slow development to be able to merge these two worlds together, because at least until things get a little bit more global, everyone is speaking their own language. Nobody is trying to merge all these ideas together. It will eventually happen, and the change of Facebook to being Meta and the concept of the metaverse being presented to the world is, in my opinion, going to greatly help to achieve this. The metaverse is a little bit of a weird word. Nobody really understands or wants to, like, everyone has their own opinion of what the metaverse is. For me, we had that fight for a long time. Is 360 video virtual reality? Is anything that plays in a virtual reality headset actually virtual reality? If you take the content out of the virtual reality headset, is it still virtual reality? Is an AR experience in the street the metaverse? What is really all of this? In my opinion, and according to dictionaries and dictionary.com and the people who are trying to write down all these explanations, basically it's a 3D virtual world. It can be based on fiction. In my opinion, it can also be based on other stuff. So the metaverse is not going to be, from my perspective, a single place. Each brand, each company is trying to create their own unique 3D world that they're going to use for their own unique businesses, and they're going to call it their metaverse. What I think will happen eventually is that we will all get to the same level and we will all speak the same language. And the metaverse will be when all these little worlds that everyone is building individually start talking to each other. And that interconnection is what has the great potential to change the world from our perspective. Immersive content, whatever that creates a deep absorption or immersion in something. You can be immersed reading a book. You can be immersed listening to an album, laying down in your floor with no lights, looking at the ceiling. You can be immersed in a concert. You can be immersed when you're kayaking down the river. It doesn't require, like, as long as it absorbs you into the experience and it takes all your senses into it, that is immersive for me. Now, I think it's important to learn and to speak about how is a series in Netflix different from a video game. What is it that makes these two pieces of content different? Because nowadays there is a Venn diagram that it really blurs the line. When you're playing a video game, there are cinematic scenes in the game that may take up to 20 minutes. You're not playing anymore. Now you're living the experience. When you're watching a series on Netflix or Hulu or any of the online broadcast streaming platforms, some of them are also giving you the option to navigate, choose your own story, try to make a personalized experience for the user. As for right now, they're all fighting in their streaming wars and creating a lot of content and trying to be the biggest of them. Like Disney is going to try to kill Apple, it's going to try to kill Hulu, it's going to try to kill Netflix by throwing money at content and creating a lot of it. But eventually, the goal of all of them is going to be to provide personalized entertainment for yourself. So what I see will be different from what you see or other people see. I like to separate them in rectilinear content and immersive content, depending on what the consuming platform is, at least for right now, because we do need some rules. Otherwise, it's going to be impossible to talk about it. So as long as you're consuming this in what I call a framed environment, where you're looking at something that has a frame, smartphones, tablets, laptops, PCs, smart TVs, a movie theater, that will be rectilinear content for me, 2D. When you are looking at it on a VR headset or playing on a gaming console or on your PC, it can have multiple different configurations with a monitor that can go all the way around you, or multiple different monitors, or a projector that goes to the wall and somewhere else. That will be an immersive piece of content for me. Now, eventually, we will find a way to repurpose all the rectilinear content into immersive content. As for right now, we're trying things. We're doing picture-in-picture inside a bigger environment, and then we can make the bigger environment react to whatever you're seeing on the screen. Whatever it is being projected on that picture-in-picture will affect the rest of the environment. And there will be formulas for that, but also native immersive content, video games that are being created for the sole purpose of being played and not being watched, and experiences, geolocated experiences on your phone that make you walk and move around. That's the new medium. That's what we're here to talk about, and we're here to explore. There is a very interesting talk about what are the artists going to do with all of this. It's not always easy to dominate a new medium, and this is a very complicated one. It's not like Justin Bieber is going to upload a video to YouTube again and become famous like he did back in the day. The metaverse is not going to be a single platform. It's going to be so big, so complicated, that we have to educate. We have to, the people like me and the companies like Supersphere need to put all these set of tools out there for people to experiment and to try and to learn. And I'm going to go over some of the words and some of the examples and some of the technologies that are playing a relevant role in this whole revolution, and just try to stick with me for a second. To begin with, today, which is on the left side of the screen, is why will artists even consider using these metaverse platforms to put their art into it? Well, to begin with, it's super obvious. COVID restrictions don't really apply there. As long as you have your own studio and you find a way to bring yourself into the metaverse, there's hundreds of thousands of people waiting for you. And you don't need to wear a mask either. Now, it is good for all the artists to start building a fan base somewhere else. It's very difficult to grow in Spotify and YouTube and Twitch and all these different platforms. There's so much competition. And the metaverse is pretty much naked. There's a lot of people in there, but nowhere near comparison the amount of people that there are on a single day scrolling through Instagram. And it is an emerging technology. This always gets me excited. And I think that creative people that like to do art are always called by this same movement, this same inspiration about doing new things. Now, in the future, it opens the door to a lot of interesting possibilities, like crypto payments that are on the race due to the whole pandemic, AI generated live shows where you get to train your own AI model so it behaves like you, the artist, and it has a personality. Um, your fan base will also be in the metaverse now. Like it will move from one medium to another. So now they are waiting for you for real, and it's millions of them. But how do we make this happen? Is it like what are the tools and what are the technologies out there to really allow the artist to transport himself or herself into the metaverse? Well, a green screen is a very easy way to do it. You can do it with your phone, really. As long as you have green behind you, you can take that out and put yourself wherever you want. But that will be the lower end of immersion. That will be the lower end of how things look. Volumetric capture, which is when you have a set of cameras around you, 138 cameras around you, and you create a 3D model of yourself in real time and broadcast that into the metaverse. That will be probably the most advanced way to do it right now. And it's unfortunately not available for everybody. Motion capture, where you either go to a studio or buy a suite like Rococo or Perception Neuron or any of the other suits that are there. You just like put it on yourself, and now you're controlling your avatar in the metaverse. It will look like an avatar. It's not going to look like you, but it will move and sound like you. So it could be interesting for some people. And virtual production, where you have, instead of a green screen, an LED wall or projectors or other systems with a camera that's being tracked and knows where it is in the 3D space and can project your background in a different way. It's a pretty nice way to do it, and it looks very good. Unreal Engine is doing a lot of work on that field right now. Now, that only works if you have access to a studio, but what if you're playing live? What if you're doing a concert and you want that concert to be there for your real live fans, but also in the metaverse? Well, there's other technologies. You will see in the next few months pop a lot of examples of this basketball game that there are avatars and they look like 3D models. It's not the real players in there, but they don't cast shadows to the floor and something looks weird. That's because they're using a markerless motion capture system developed by either Canon or Intel. Those are the two big players. They set up an array of cameras around the environment, about usually a stadium, and allow you to go live in the metaverse via 3D model, similar to volumetric capture. The depth-based keying using normal cameras or the stereo pairs is also very accurate, almost as good as green screen nowadays. And the depth cameras like Kinect or other devices that were originally designed to do human-computer interaction will also be commonly available to do this kind of key out and volume generation of the artist. There has been some examples of pretty big names pushing this industry and trying to do something new. The biggest one will be all the way to the right. Travis Scott's concert in Fortnite was an absolute revolution with millions of people watching and very high quality. They spent at least a year creating this whole experience that lasted for 38 minutes for all these users to enjoy. It was amazing. The Post Malone show that he did with Pokemon very recently, where you got to see your favorite Pokemons in different environments and also your favorite artist. And Justin Bieber, he's actually an investor in one of these companies. Their name is Wave VR, and they are doing a lot of these experiences. As you can see, they don't quite look realistic, and they don't quite, some people will not find this compelling, and it's sort of like on the verge of, we're getting there. These are the first pioneers experience out there. It has pros and cons, but each one of these individual experiences have been an incredible learning process. And I also wanted to at least use 1 minute to talk about these other two examples, holograms being projected in real time in a real venue with real people, and also through the broadcast camera, so everyone in their houses can see this. In a long time ago already, in Coachella, they projected Tupac, an artist that isn't here with us anymore. And they were able to bring him to life and to do a performance with another artist for everybody to see. It was mind-blowing. And Hatsune Miku is actually a huge phenomenon in Japan. It has thousands, millions of followers around the world, and it's a virtual influencer. It has such a big following that it just it sells out stadiums. We also did, as Supersphere, a small approach into this whole world. We created a high-resolution, hyper-real scan of an artist called Vandela, and we presented her as a virtual avatar into this other world. Is this person that you're seeing on the screen right now? She's wearing the purple dress. You will see that some moments, if you look into it, it doesn't look very real, but if you're not paying a lot of attention, it moves like a real person. It has physics in the hair and in the clothing. It's just, it's a person. It's a human, but it's not. It's not there in real life. Now, when we created this whole character, we couldn't stop thinking about what other possibilities we have, because we definitely can shoot a video clip with it, which is what we did. But what else can we do with all of this? The level of realism that we were able to recreate was astonishing. This picture that you're seeing is that's her. That's the 3D model. It's not a picture. It doesn't even have hair. She's not bald. And let me just run through a couple others, like the ugly parts of it. How do you do a motion capture? How do you recreate the most complicated parts that make a human not be human, like the eyes or the teeth of it? How do you capture the way somebody talks or moves or looks, and all the micro gestures on how does your nose move and your eyebrows, and when you're happy and you're sad and you're looking, or all of that stuff is quite hard today, but eventually it'll be available for more people. And having this digital artist, we decided, hey, how about we start thinking about what is the next step? What if we had 50 of them? What if we did a festival with it? And on the same line of thought, this isn't something that we did, but somebody else created the Electronic Daisy Festival in a platform called Roblox, which is absolutely huge with millions of users. They have 50 live sets with artists playing across 4 days in 4 different stages that represented the real music festival in Las Vegas. Here is a quick video, just about 1 minute, of how this looks. It looks a little bit like a video game where it's not quite a video game, although it has some games in the experience where you can race your friends like Mario Kart, or do a sing-star competition. But you're not there to play, you're there to meet people. You're there to dance, you're there to discover the environment, you're there to listen to music. And this is what I was talking about when I mentioned that Venn diagram of the rectilinear and the immersive content. This is exactly where this will live. I've been at EDC, and what you feel when you walk in this environment, Like what you're seeing here on the screen is actually kind of accurate. They have 20-meter tall flowers that will glow. This owl is kinetic field is one of their biggest fields. Like this is a real representation of this. When I was playing in Roblox and meeting my friends and raving my head off like this avatar over here, um, I everything that I was feeling was the same as when I went to the actual EDC festival. So I warranty you that that will keep happening more and more. I think that festivals in the immersive metaverse are going to be a pretty big thing. And just towards the end of my presentation, I wanted to talk about what I think that it will happen 4 years from now and then 10 years from now, just to throw some ideas to the table. Obviously, this is based on my own experience, is biased on what I think and what I've been living through, and it may not represent reality. So, I also live a little bit in my own bubble, in my own world about technology and immersive content. And some people may look at it in a different view, but this is mine. In no more than 4 years, the metaverse input systems, the way we talk and we communicate and we have relationship in the metaverse is going to change. Eye tracking is going to be one of the most important ones because it will allow us, the developers of this world, to know what is it that the users are interested on, where are they looking, what is the heat mapping here, and it will also allow technology to be faster, way more optimized. We won't need to load all these huge stages and all these huge universes. We can load only what you're looking to, for example. Haptic gloves where you actually feel where you're touching. So if you do a high five in the metaverse, you actually feel the other person's hand on the other side. And even suit where you put something, and if you're playing a game where it's like a shooting game or a basketball game or whatever it is, and the ball hits you in the shoulder, you feel a little hit in there. Right now, 25 people, 50 people are as many as you can find on these virtual worlds before you have to load a different scene. 4 years from now, I'm pretty confident that we will move pretty quick on that and be able to have hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands on the same worlds. And this will allow creative ideas like virtual schools, universities, micro festivals, where having access to hundreds of thousands of people is a pretty heavy reason to go there. And with that, it will come what I call the metaverse financial ecosystem. When you visit my experience, the experience that I built as the creator of it, which everyone is going to be able to be a creator, you can do that today in Roblox. You can build your own little experience and have people come to you. That is going to be as powerful as a Netflix series that gets you engaged in there for 5 seasons, or as powerful as watching The Lord of the Rings, or as powerful as playing Call of Duty for 5 hours a day. And those 3 examples, Netflix and movies and video games, are going to be at the reach of anybody. If you are very creative and you can create a very interesting and immersive world, you'll be able to make money out of that. And the creator economy is going to be as big as it is today. It will allow brand sponsorships, influencers, product development. It will have all of that already exists today on the real world. Now, 10 years from now, the NFTs that are a little revolution right now, they're, in my opinion, being used for the wrong reasons, but they allow this global interconnectivity. This idea that I was talking about, the metaverses talking to each other and all these worlds interacting with each other. With an NFT, let's say you own a rocket and that's your medium of transportation. And you use that in Fortnite, but also in Minecraft and also in Roblox, but also in Call of Duty. And can you watch a movie where the protagonist is moving around your spaceship? possible, maybe. It's 10 years from now, it's a decade. We have time to make this happen. And that's what this technology was born for. Hyper-realistic humans. Through our experience creating Vendela, we learned that the uncanny valley is not easy to cross. All these micro gestures and all these, what makes a human aspect of it is really only accomplishable through very, very advanced and powerful machine learning. But 10 years from now, we'll have the technology to make that happen. And then the multi-million universes. Because what if you go to your own metaverse or the world that you like, and the people that are there are actually non-playable characters, and some of your friends. Maybe it's 5 friends and 100 non-playable characters. Your pet can be in virtual reality, augmented reality, metaverse. What if you have a therapist that you could talk to in this virtual world? What about all the influencers and teachers? And all of those can be AI trained models that can help you go through your day. And then a bunch of just other futuristic ideas of things that I believe the technologies that are being developed will happen. The retina projection mixed reality systems will eventually come, where you're not looking at a screen anymore, but it's a little projector that is going straight into your eye that will give you the highest resolution and the highest fidelity. And you can choose if you want to be completely out of the world or you want to have a mixed reality environment where you can see some things in the real life with a virtual overlay on top of it, for example. And the one thing that I'm very, very excited about, which is actually something that we can achieve today, but I don't think it will have enough interest until at least 10 years from now, are the geolocated live shows. What if you had to go to Times Square or Piccadilly Circus or Plaza de España in Madrid to see your favorite show on your phone, where everything has been mapped and there's a 3D model of the whole environment, and you're watching something, but there's a hidden gem behind that tree, and you see that there is a bunch of people going in there, so you go there too. Or what if there is a show behind every stop sign in Los Angeles? All of those ideas will most likely come to life in the next decade. And this is just a quick graphic that I designed to try to explain what the traditional medium was 5 years ago, where we are in the present day, and everything that's coming in the future. Like the person that was talking before me said, it's just so big that we don't even know. So you have to work together with the whole industry to find out what is it that is coming. And that's it. That's my presentation right there at 3 a.m. from LA. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope I was able to catch somebody's attention. If anybody wants to follow up with the conversation, that is my email right there. Feel free to shoot me one. It'll probably take me a couple of weeks to reply, but I'll eventually get into it. I'm good at that.
Wow, Cristian, thank you so much. First of all, for staying up this late. We really, really appreciate it. But also for taking all of us on this grand tour of your thinking. And I want to stress one of the things here, because not too long ago I had a conversation with one of the chief responsible of innovation at Amazon. And he elaborated that one of the most important skills he saw within their company, that I think that all of us could be inspired from, is if you can think about what is almost here and start to build your concepts or your performances or your venue or the experiences that you want to be creating, then you're really long in the process, because the technology that we don't have yet will probably be here pretty soon. And I think you nailed that, coming from a point where you really frame for us, where are we today and where might we be heading it? So as a last question, because you definitely answered my question about what's next, I wanted to ask you as a closing remark and as an invitation to our audiences, where can we start? What is something that all of us should try or do, or just go ahead and seek out?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm hearing myself. 1 second. Okay. Yeah. So I will say the answer to the question has 2 points. Obviously, I'm biased, and I will suggest that the Meta Quest, which is this device that I have right here, it's a great place to start. It's only about $250. It's available everywhere in every single technology store in the world. It's at the end of the day a simple Android device that you slap in your face, and it has a pretty big story in there. So I will suggest that if you're interested in this whole virtual world, you should try it out. But also try to support all these artists that are trying new things. When you see somebody that is not being very successful because it's a little bit weird what they're doing, it's like, oh my gosh, I need to use my phone and my computer to see your stuff. I need to point on my hand so I can like be in your visuals. Yeah, that's it may be a little bit weird now, but I think that is paving the road to innovation in the future. So emerging tech and emerging artists is something that should live together. Try to be supportive and be open-minded to all this new technology that's involving all forms of art and all forms of content creation. And if you have access to a virtual reality headset like the Meta Quest, I'll highly suggest getting one.
Fantastic. Okay, Cristian, we want to say good night and thank you again. And we hope that later on in the year, we will bring you to Copenhagen and bring you in on our time zone, because there is much more to be explored alongside your incredible expertise. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.